You ever watch anime? You ever see a character so cunning, so manipulative, that they could make anyone do anything? Johann Liebert, man. That dude was something else. He could make people do the craziest stuff, and they wouldn't even know they were being played. It's fascinating, right? The psychology of manipulation, how someone can just get inside your head and pull the strings. Well, in this video, we're going to dive deep into the world of manipulation. We're going to break down 10 tricks that master manipulators, just like Johann, use to get what they want. And trust me, this stuff is everywhere. We're talking about gaslighting, projection, triangulation, all those messed up tactics that can leave you feeling like you're going insane. But don't worry, we're not just going to lay out the problem, we're going to give you the tools to fight back. So buckle up, because things are about to get real interesting. First up, we got gaslighting. This is some straight up mind fuckery, man. It's all about making you doubt your own sanity. You ever been in an argument and the other person's like, that never happened, or you're imagining things? That's gaslighting, and it can mess you up. They chip away at your reality, making you question your memories, your perceptions, everything. It's like they're trying to drive you insane, and the worst part is, it can be really subtle. You start to second guess yourself, wondering if you're really remembering things correctly. And that's exactly what the manipulator wants. They want you off balance, doubting yourself, because when you're in that state, you're easier to control. It's messed up, man. But here's the thing, you gotta trust your gut. If something feels off, if you know something happened, don't let them tell you otherwise. Write things down, talk to someone you trust, keep a record of what's going on, because the more you can ground yourself in your own reality, the less power they have over you. Next up, we got projection. This one's a classic. It's basically when someone takes their own crap and tries to dump it on you. Like, let's say you're dating a narcissist, right? And they cheat on you. Instead of owning up to it, they turn it around and accuse you of being unfaithful. It's insane. They project their own insecurities and shortcomings onto you, making you feel like the bad guy. And the worst part is, it can be really convincing, especially if they're good at it. They might even believe their own lies, which makes it even more messed up. But here's the key. Don't buy into it. Don't let them project their crap onto you. Remember who you are, know your worth, and don't take responsibility for their actions. It's not your job to fix them or make them feel better about themselves. Now let's talk about generalizations. This is another tactic that manipulators use to control the narrative. They love to make sweeping statements, painting everything in black and white, ignoring all the nuance and complexity of real life. Like they might say something like, you always do this or you never do that. It's a way of shutting down any real conversation or debate. They're not interested in hearing your side of the story, they just want to control the narrative. And the more you try to argue with them, the more they'll double down on their generalizations. It's like talking to a brick wall. So, what do? Don't engage with the generalizations. Don't get sucked into their black and white thinking. Instead, focus on the specifics. Call them out on their BS. And most importantly, don't let them make you feel bad for seeing the world in all its shades of grey. Chapter 4. Moving the goalposts. You'll never be enough. This next one is a real killer, man. It's called moving the goalposts. You know, when you're dating someone and you're trying your best to make them happy, but it's never enough. You jump through all their hoops, you bend over backwards, but they just keep setting the bar higher and higher. That's moving the goalposts, and it's a surefire way to drive someone insane. It's all about control and manipulation. They want you to feel like you're constantly striving, constantly falling short, because as long as you feel that way, they've got you right where they want you. But here's the thing, you are enough. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Don't let them define your worth. Set your own standards, know your own value, and don't be afraid to walk away from anyone who tries to make you feel like you're not good enough. Chapter 5. Changing the subject, the art of deflection. Ever try to have a serious conversation with someone and they just keep changing the subject? That's another classic manipulation tactic. It's a way of avoiding accountability, of steering the conversation away from anything that might make them uncomfortable. They're masters of deflection, always finding a way to shift the focus away from their own BS. And it can be maddening, man. You're trying to have a real conversation, to address the issues at hand, but they just keep dodging and weaving. So, what do? You've got to stay on point. Don't let them derail the conversation. Keep bringing it back to the issue at hand, no matter how many times they try to change the subject. And if they're not willing to have an honest conversation, then maybe it's time to walk away. Chapter 6, Name-calling, the lowest form of communication. This one's pretty self-explanatory, right? Name-calling, it's the oldest trick in the book, and it's always a sign of weakness. When someone resorts to name-calling, it means they've lost the argument. They have no valid points to make, so they resort to insults and personal attacks. It's childish, it's immature, and it's never okay. And here's the thing. It says more about them than it does about you. When someone calls you names, it's a reflection of their own insecurities and shortcomings. Don't let their words get to you. Remember who you are, know your worth, and don't stoop to their level. Chapter 7. Smear campaigns, protecting your reputation. This next one is some next-level manipulation. We're talking about smear campaigns. This is when someone tries to ruin your reputation by spreading lies and rumors about you. They might go behind your back, talking trash to your friends, your family, your co-workers, anyone who will listen. It's a cowardly way to try to control the narrative, to make themselves look good and you look bad. And it can be really damaging, especially if you're not prepared for it. So, what do? First of all, don't engage with the drama. Don't stoop to their level by spreading rumors of your own. Instead, focus on building a strong support system of people who know you and trust you. And if the situation escalates, don't be afraid to take legal action. Chapter 8. Devaluation, you're not so special after all. Devaluation is another common tactic used by manipulators, especially in romantic relationships. It's all about breaking down your self-esteem, making you feel like you're not good enough. They might start by showering you with compliments and attention, making you feel like you're the most amazing person in the world. But then, slowly but surely, the compliments start to fade away. They start to criticize you, to put you down, to make you feel small. It's a classic case of love bombing followed by devaluation, and it's a recipe for disaster. If you're in a relationship with someone who's constantly putting you down, it's time to get out. You deserve to be with someone who loves and respects you for who you are. Chapter 9. Aggressive jokes, it's not funny, it's mean. Ever been around someone who hides their insults behind jokes? They say something hurtful, then they're all like, just kidding. But you know it wasn't a joke. That's passive-aggressive behavior, and it's a form of manipulation. They're trying to get away with saying mean things by disguising them as jokes. Don't let them get away with it. Call them out on their BS. Let them know that their words are hurtful, even if they're trying to play it off as a joke. You deserve to be treated with respect, and that includes being spoken to with kindness. Chapter 10. Triangulation, creating drama and division. Last but not least, we got triangulation. This is a classic manipulation tactic that's all about creating drama and division. It's when someone brings a third party into the mix to try to control the situation. For example, they might try to make you jealous by talking about their ex, or they might try to get you to side with them against a mutual friend. It's a way of creating chaos and confusion, and it can be really effective. The best way to deal with triangulation is to refuse to play the game. Don't get sucked into the drama. If someone is constantly trying to triangulate you, it's a sign that they're not interested in having a healthy, drama-free relationship. So there you have it, folks. 10 manipulation tactics that can really mess you up if you're not careful. It's like a virus, man. Once it gets in your head, it can be hard to shake. But the good news is, knowledge is power. The more you understand these tactics, the better equipped you'll be to spot them and defend yourself against them. Remember, there are a lot of shady people out there, man. People who will try to take advantage of you, to manipulate you for their own gain. But don't let them. Stay woke, my friends. Stay vigilant. And always trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.